channel, and I did a poll on my channel, for the first time, and it said I should do a video in Scratch, and I was gonna post another video, but I want to first make an introduction to Scratch so you get the basic idea of Scratch. So, when you first see Scratch, it looks pretty confusing if you don't have any experience in any block-based coding. But I'm going to go by step so you understand everything. So we have many different categories. We have motion, looks, sound, events, control, sensing, operators, variables, and my blocks. Also, don't be confused that you don't have this tab or this thing has ears and things. You all probably have the correct version. It's just that I am using it it's just okay. So it might look different on your screen, but it's all the same basic ideas. So in that case, let's start with here, this area. This is the most important area here. This is where you can actually see your game. And I know that you can just code your game, but you're never going to see what you coded. And that you can just click the green flag to start and stop it. And that's this block when green flag is clicked. That is basically when you start the game. Also, you probably don't have this one, it's okay. Now, here is the bottom portion. This is where we can control the X and the Y. And let me just show you what the X and the Y is. So, let's go to this called state. This is the background of their game, okay? Think of it as the background. In the way that here we have all the code, but if we want to make let's see, to show the X and Y position, we can click on backdrops. It's the same thing in sprites. You can click costumes. Now, to add a new backdrop, you click this icon. Now, first hover over it and you have multiple options. You can upload a backdrop from your files. You can do a surprise that would randomize it. You can paint your own, or you can choose a backdrop. These two are the same exact thing. And here, we want the X and the Y grid. And I'm going to put it over here. So now you have the basic understanding of what it is. This is the X and this is the Y, and you can change it. So let's say we want the Y to go and be 180, then it would be over here. Let's say we want the Y to be 0, but we want the X to be negative 240 here. So it's a position on the screen. And since Scratch is 2D, you don't have to worry about the Z dimension, so it's only X and Y. Now we get the idea of X and Y. Now we also have size. So that's how big our sprite is. Let's say we want to go 200. That's bigger than, but the max is, well, I don't know, but 540. The max is 540, and it is pretty big, and it's not that big of a limitation, since why would you want it to be bigger? But in some cases, it is going to be useful. So 100 is also useful. And here is rotation. Now this is a little bit more complicated to explain than just the X and Y, but if you know degrees, then it's straightforward. It's basically just degrees, and you can go in a complete circle, and there's a bunch of different things. There's don't rotate, that is basically it does not rotate. Then we have this. So basically, if it moves to on the right, it would switch there, and it's not that precise, but it's useful if you want to switch positions. I'll try. Oh my god, this is so annoying. So that's rotation, and now this is the part where explanation is needed. But before we get into that, let me show you another useful category: sounds. Here you can upload sound, you can surprise it, you can record it, or you can search your own sound. Personally, I would choose my sound, but there are pretty funny sounds. So keep that in mind. So here, let me show you how to start the code. Here is the events category. This is where we start our code. This is like if the sprite is clicked when we go and click it, or we can do when the game starts, or we can do it when space key is pressed. Let me just right now. And we can do when the backdrop switches to X and Y grid. So we have a bunch of different events that you can play around with, and you can do for your needs in your animation or game or whatever you're trying to make it Scratch. Now, the next thing I need to show you is motion. We have move 10 steps that just moves 10 steps, but it's not very accurate. So if you want to move in like on the X or Y, it's not gonna work. Let me show you what I mean. Let's say we're pointing here. And when we use the move steps, we're gonna go and move in that direction. That is useful, but in this case, we don't want that. So if you just want to go left on the screen, you're gonna want to use, or right, you want to use go to. Go to is how you set it, but if you actually want to move it, you want to use the change X, change Y, set X, and set Y. These two are the exact same as this if you combine them. So you can just think of this as if you set both of them in one block. Now, the next part I need to tell you about is looks. And in looks, we have say, so we can talk. This isn't a very good system, but for beginners, it's the best you can do. You can say it, and it'll permanently say it, and there is no for. You can think, that is a think bubble, and you can think permanently. Here we have a switch costume, and a switch costume is very useful because now let's see, we want to switch it to 2, and then we want to switch it to 1. We can just change it in here, so in most games this is what you're going to use. Then we also have next costume that is crucial in GIF animations with Scratch, and next backdrop that I actually never used it, but I think that you could probably use it in some sort of way. Now, this is a cool feature. It's the effect, and we can go with color, and now when we change it to 25, boom, we can change the color directly. I'm going to show you the other way to change color in Scratch, but whoa, it's useful. Now we also have fisheye, and fisheye is, well, wacky. Now let me just do this for the funsies. Oh, Scratch Cat really got a big mouth. And now, if you can't quite fix it, as you can see here, I didn't quite fix it. There's another useful block, and that's called clear graphical effects. It'll clear any graphical effects you apply. See, the Scratch Cat is back to normal in an instant. Now we also have show and hide. You can also change show and hide in here. But if you want to do it through coding, you can do it like this. Now you're probably saying that I'm only just clicking on it, but you use the events to start your code and then you just attach them. I'll show you what I mean by this. Then we have sounds, and then we have pitch, and then we have volume. And you can show your volume on the screen. You don't have this, but it's a simple hand to know and change it in game. Now we have control. You're going to be using this a lot in your game. We have wait, we have repeat, we have forever, so it happens every single frame in the game. Scratch runs at 30 frames per second. That is a limitation, but it's okay, because if you're watching this, you're probably a beginner. We have if. I'm going to show you what inputs you can put inside the if. You have if, then else. Wait until, that is kind of like a wait block, but we wait until a certain condition is met. Repeat until, that is similar. And then we have stop all, that is useful for game over. Then we have clones, and I'm not going to talk about clones in this video because it's more of an advanced topic. Even though there's only 3 blocks, it is very interesting. We have sensing. Now sensing, we have touching, like if it's touching the mouse pointer. Right now it is touching the mouse pointer. We have touching color, if color is touching color. This is also the inputs that you put inside an if condition, so just keep that in mind. We have distance to mouse pointer. We can also change that to if you have the multiple sprites. Let me add another sprite. We have another thing, so we can add more sprites. And you can also add more backdrops like this. Let me make a new sprite. And now we can do distance to sprite 2 over here. You can also just change the name here, and now it's going to be high. So you can always put naming. We also have ask, and if you ask, it would be like this. And if you put an answer, like, let me say, I don't want to put my real name. I'm just going to put Jeff. And then we can show our answer, and it would say Jeff. So good for quiz games. Very useful. I also used it in one of my games for mobile controls. So it's not just for quiz games. Now this is good for movement. We can make controls. We have if the mouse is down, now it's down. And we have mouse X and mouse Y, that's our position. We have drag mode, so let's say draggable. But now let's set not draggable. Wait, no, if we go inside game, set draggable. Now if we go inside full screen, we'll be able to drag it. But now, if we set it to not draggable, then we go inside game. No. Wait, I didn't click on it. Sorry. It's stuck. You can't drag it. So, it's gonna be useful in like golf games. I have no idea why I'm telling you when these blocks are gonna be useful. So later when you're making a game, you know what blocks you use. Loudness, that is not useful in our scenario. Timer, that sets a timer. We can just click restart, 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 restart. And we also have here. This is a very interesting block because we can get every single detail about the sprite. We have the most useless block. In my opinion, this might not be for you, current year. Wait, oh, sorry, that's the second worst. Day since 2000 is, well, not very useful, but we keep that to ourselves. Then we have our username, so we can use that to like troll people. We have operators. Now we have addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, pick random, and all of these. I can't go in detail, but experiment with these and do a lot because there's a lot here. We have joining letter 1, you're gonna get A, of course, and then you're gonna get apple, banana. In here we're gonna get true or false. In here we got mod, that is really hard to understand right now. We have rounding, that is straightforward. That is very straightforward. And we also have this is the absolute. We have floor, we have ceiling, we got square root, we got sin, we got cosine. I think that's it. I don't know. Okay, I'm not that good at math. And then we have variables. Variables is where we store data. So now let me just set the variable to 5. Now it's going to be 5. Now let's set it to 5.1. You can put it as 5.1. You can also put letters. You can say, and then it would go and set to the exact same thing. So keep that in mind. And we also have lists. They're kind of like overcomplicated variables. We also, even if we make a new variable, we're going to have these two options. For all sprites or for this sprite only. That means that you can only access it in this sprite or in all sprites in our project. Let me do this sprite only. Oh yeah, I need to put a name. Hello? Hello? This. It's not working for some reason. Maybe I'll make a new video on that. So now let me show you how you can use all these blocks I just talked about into one simple project. Let me first make a simple movement system. So let's do when green flag clicked. We want to first set the position. Let me set it to 0, 0. You can also just do this, but this is the same thing. Now, we want to make it so if the left key or right key or up and down keys are pressed, then it'll move the player. So we want to do it every single frame. So now we can just do forever. Okay, and now we can put if blocks. We want 4 because there's 4 keys that we're going to use to move the player. So 1, 2, and we can right click it, we can duplicate it. So let's duplicate it. And now we have 4. Now we need to put some blocks inside. So to find those, we can go inside Sense, and then we have a bunch of blocks. We're looking for this block right here. So let's put it into all of them. Now let's do up arrow key, down arrow key, right arrow key, left arrow key. Now we have almost everything done. But as you notice, nothing is happening. That's because we need to fill in these inputs. That's where we go back into motion, and now we go and put these. So for up, we want to change the Y by 10. So that's going up. Anything down is going to be negative. So then so if the down key is pressed, let's change the Y by negative 10. Now when the right key is pressed, that is positive. So we want to change the X by 10, and the left is negative, so we set it by negative 10. You might need to get used to all this, but if at the end you got a movement system. Now, it works on both sides, so yeah, you can just, and here we have a movement engine that is great and is good in simple terms, okay? It's great, but it's not greater because this is just using the change blocks. We want to do something else. We want to do something more fancy. Let's make this greater. This is not going to be using velocity because that's too advanced, but we're just going to use variables. Let's make a variable. We also have cloud variable, don't mind that. It's for multiplayer, and I might make a video on that for multiplayer in Scratch like I did for the microbit, but for now, let's just make hi Scratch Cat move. Let's make a new variable. Let me call it move speed. No. Okay, click OK. I don't know why it's not showing on my end. I have no idea what glitch this is, but I'm just going to use my variable, and I'm going to go and set it to 10. Now I'm going to make it a little bit slower. I'm going to set it to 5 to make it a little bit more smooth. And now we want to change it by my variable. Now it's easy like that, but that's a negative. How are we going to make it negative 5? Now this is the magic of how it happens. If you do 0 minus whatever number you have, click this, I apologize. I have deep concerns. I deeply apologize. We got negative 5. I know this is crazy. This is a new invention. It's 2025. This is the reality. We can do this. now we want to do the exact same thing for the rest of them. And now we have a greater movement system. Now, a lot of you guys hate this one, but this is what you're going to use for your movement systems later on. Not exactly, but you're going to use variables. So get used to using variables. When we're going to, sometimes you're going to have to use gravity and velocity. Just using change blocks, you're just getting used to it too much. So we have that. Now there's a button over here that I just clicked that saves your project. Very useful. And if you want more information on Scratch, I'm pretty sure I talk too fast, click on tutorials and it will tell you more about Scratch. So that's all I had to tell you in this video, and goodbye, and have a very Scratch tiftic. Oh, okay, I tried to make a joke. I know, not funny, but have a nice day.